this site has used the iKnow technology to look for that information in accompanying text, in commentary, and extract that so that that data can be used in searches alongside the structured information. So somebody may be looking for an apartment of certain size, in a certain price range, in a certain district, with certain intangible characteristics. With that, the accuracy has improved to where the sites that are delivered are much more appropriate to what people are looking for, and the error rate significantly reduced. And this is an example of tapping into unstructured data to provide answers that are really important for people in making decisions. Moving from Cache to Ensemble, let me describe a couple of recent innovations there. I'm going to start by talking about a firm called Baxa, which is a US firm. It was recently acquired by Baxter Healthcare, which is one of the largest healthcare companies in the United States. Baxa built an application called Dose Edge, which they made available through software as a service to hospitals for managing intravenous dispensing. And the services that they provide are several. One is to ensure that dosages are correct, that medication interactions are automatically checked for. But they go beyond that, because best care practice for medicine today suggests the use of checklists and pause points by providers, whether they're doctors or nurses, to ensure that all the requisite checks have been done and somebody takes the time to stop and validate that those checks have taken place. So it's not a rush through faster, but in fact, do the work, stop, validate that all the appropriate checks have been done, and then proceed. And that's built in to Dose Edge, that checklisting process, that pausing and review process. And therefore, this embodies best medical practices for IV dispensing. In the early period of their operation, Dose Edge processed over 16 million doses, and in that time, there were 500,000 potential medication errors prevented. Now, we don't know how many of those would have been real medication problems. We knew that some of them were inappropriate dosages, some of them were interactions with other medications, but trapping that many, that's a very high rate of correction that was required. This system is deployed as software as a service. There are over 90 hospitals using Dose Edge, and there's been no downtime since they've launched. University of California at Davis is a medical hospital, a medical school associated with the University of California in Northern California, and an affiliated set of clinics forming what we call an integrated delivery network, an IDN. UC Davis has been a user of Ensemble for some time. I'd like to describe one recent innovation that they made, which was in response to legislation that was passed by the state of California. The state mandated that all dosages that patients were exposed to during medical care, all radiation dosages, be monitored and reported to the state. The goal obviously being to look for overexposure and hopefully to generate some information about the long-term effects on both patients and on the providers who are managing X-ray machines, MRI machines, or other imaging devices. UC Davis responded by using a DICOM interface to actually build that logging into the electronic medical record of each patient and to automatically do the reporting that's required to states. And if there are any conditions of concern, overexposure or anything like that, to automatically generate alerts to the patient involved, to the providers involved, and to public health. One of the really interesting things is that by storing that information directly in the electronic medical record, that now makes it possible for researchers over time to monitor any long-term effects of overdoses or incremental quantities of small dosages. So we have this bound to the electronic medical record, and over the coming years, researchers will be able to take advantage of that, hopefully for everyone's benefit. As you know, InterSystems has begun selling a hospital information systems of our own called TrackCare. And we are very pleased that last year, Gartner, in its analysis of the HIS that are sold on a global basis around the world, ranked InterSystems very highly in the capabilities that are available in TrackCare. As you can see, only one firm, and that's Cerner from the United States, that's been in this business for over 25 years, was ranked higher in the scope of capabilities that they offer. And this survey looked at all firms that offered hospital information systems that were deployed in at least 3 countries. So we're very pleased to be ranked so highly, so quickly. We're very far out on the visionary side, and we're just about to make our way up into the desirable upper right-hand corner. What we need is a few more deployments of TrackCare around the world. And then we'll be positioned as one of the best providers of EHRs on a global basis. As part of that analysis, Gartner identified that we are in fact the most global of the global providers for EHRs. There is no other firm that has deployed in so many different geographies, in so many different settings. They also recognize that the financial strength that InterSystems has allows us to continue to invest and improve the product offering and improve the local services that we provide to the hospitals, to the states that are rolling out TrackCare. And we're especially pleased that they realized that our own use of our analytics capabilities, the ways in which we've taken DeepC and embedded it within TrackCare to provide real-time analytics within a hospital setting, was a key benefit. So we want to remind you that since we sell applications in healthcare, we're taking advantage of this message ourselves, and we feel that TrackCare is being recognized as a breakthrough application with analysis like this around the world. One other thing, just to give you an update about our delivery of TrackCare, is that we have identified a very efficient and very effective deployment model for EHRs. We call the system ARIES, and it has a few core principles. Our goal very much is to deliver value. Although we do now offer services, we're not interested in treating services as a profit center. We're not interested in generating the greatest number of billable hours. What we want to do is get the system configured and installed as quickly, as efficiently as possible so that the hospitals, the provinces, or the countries that are rolling out TRACARE on a large scale see the benefits immediately. We've taken the core product that's developed in Australia, and we create what we call local editions. And these are really the foundations for customizing the product for Thailand, for Scotland, for Chile, for Brazil, for the Middle East, for China, for all the countries in which we're deploying it. And then from that, we can very quickly configure it for particular hospitals or particular regions. In contrast to the methods where people have tried to incrementally roll out systems over the course of a year or several years, we think the greatest benefit comes from bringing everything up as quickly as possible and having all the clinical departments seeing the benefit as soon as we can. So we aim for a very quick rollout of the system. And as part of that, our goal is to ensure that the system is not just installed, but works for the doctors and works for the nurses and works for the administrators so that they adopt and use this system to the best of their abilities, which provides the greatest long-term advantage. Finally, in our product portfolio, I want to talk a little bit about health share, and there are two different topics I want to cover here. The first is that we have won some significant new large-scale customers for health share. You recall that health share is a product we developed a few years ago to enable medical record sharing in environments where different EMRs are used, where different pharmacy systems are used. Health share can generate an aggregate medical record and can enable sharing of those medical records in different environments. This is increasingly important for public policy, for public health care. Many countries, the US among them, are now mandating that this sharing take place. And as part of Obama's initiative 2 years ago, funding was provided to the states to ensure that the different EMRs had a means of exchanging information, and infrastructure was put in place to make that exchange possible with the necessary consent management, with the privacy protection that's appropriate for patients, and to make that available on a statewide basis. We're pleased to say that in the early part of this year, Illinois, which is a reasonably large state in population, selected health share as its infrastructure to deliver that service to 180 hospitals, over 34,000 doctors, and a population of 12 million people. This will be provided as software as a service throughout the state of Illinois. And it's seen as a key healthcare initiative by the state government and by the federal government. Another state in the United States, Missouri, has also selected health share. Their population is slightly smaller, but they still have a very large number of hospitals, 120 hospitals and over 16,000 physicians. So with this win, we now have 5 statewide initiatives underway within the United States.